Hello, and welcome to Versus. Today we're talking about 3 things we want to see added to the eagerly anticipated Zelda sequel heading to the Nintendo Switch in the near future, Breath of the Wild 2. Switch gamers are still just as much in love with the first BOTW as they were upon its release, which came alongside the Nintendo console 4 years ago, and now we believe it's time to shift our focus onto its predecessor. Before we start, we would appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if you haven't already, go over to our Facebook page and get involved with the thousands of others who are all sharing their thoughts on the multiple versus battles we post each week. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Firstly, we're going to start with somewhat of a controversial pick, as we would love the addition of multiplayer. While adventuring around as Link never gets old, allowing players to experience the open world of Breath of the Wild alongside a friend, either local or online, should be a priority heading into the next game in the Zelda series. Although co-op has never been big in the game franchise, accompanying Link on his travels with the character of your choosing, most likely Zelda, would be an improvement on the near-perfect open-world game we got the first time around. Overcoming challenges as a duo, having to rely on each other to get a task done, and being able to utilize some of the magic and abilities Zelda or any other character has to further your story sounds like a great addition to an otherwise flawless game. Next up, here at Versus, we'd love to see Breath of the Wild 2 convert back to the dark side once again, opposed to the bright and colorful game we saw the last time out. It's incredibly hard to discredit the sensational RPG game we got all those years ago, but whilst the game as a whole was a masterpiece, it may have been a little too pleasant for our liking. While keeping its family-friendly style understandably remains important to Nintendo exclusives, we believe that the upcoming follow-up to Breath of the Wild would benefit in getting guidance from earlier games such as Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess, 2 of the franchise's darker installments. After watching the trailer, we get a look at the much more sinister layout for Breath of the Wild 2, and after being introduced to the terrifying skeleton of Ganon, we believe that it's possible that the creators are in favor of giving us a much more ominous setting for the long-awaited Nintendo Switch game, which is set for release later on in the year, hopefully. Lastly, we have our most wanted feature, and that's the re-inclusion of themed dragons. Yeah, okay, the Divine Beasts were a decent addition, and I'm not sure it's just us, but we feel they lack the feel of an actual Zelda game, so we would love to see dungeons make their return in Breath of the Wild 2. Having to fight your way through a dungeon to completion and defeating the bosses using the weapons you find during your ventures through the dungeons is something we've been missing from a Zelda game in quite some time. The Zelda series is known for many things, and one of those is just how good their dungeons have been in the past. So if the next game can add a collection of dungeons that are half as good as the ones seen in the Ocarina of Time, it's already something that is needed to add a little improvement. So, what do you think of our choices? Is there anything else you would love to see added to the Breath of the Wild 2 when it eventually arrives on the Nintendo Switch? Let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Also, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And from all of us here at Versus, we'll see you in the next one.